Groove City.
Hey, what's up? I'm Lefty.
And I'm Rich Furniss, and welcome to another episode of Groove City.
That's right. We are excited to be back with a very special guest here where we're going to talk about the past, present, and future. We're excited to welcome our good friend, Branqueeno, who you may have seen on the stage at Brooklyn Mirage, putting on events, building the community, and right here at Sound Collective for some other, just social hangs. So welcome.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how you been? How's your year been going? It's been like a lot of exciting things have been going on.
Yes, a lot of things. I just keep growing and evolving. And so it's been good. I've been kind of sitting more on the throwing events and promotion and DJ side. On the way here, I was thinking about, it's been almost a year since I took the music production course here, and I was thinking about my growth in production. And though it's going, I'm still kind of finding that I'm being called a lot more to throwing events and things like that.
Awesome. And so you throw a lot of women in the industry events. Do you want to talk about that in the organization that you work with, which I know, but I just want you to
Yeah,
explain
so
it.
I work with Sisters in Sound, and we throw events. We had a residency at Silo last year, and they're focused on networking, skill building, education, and we actually just won a diversity grant from Beatport.
Congrats.
Amazing.
And so that's going to be announced this week, and we're throwing a 2-day micro festival, and we secured the venue over the weekend. So it's really, really exciting. So we've put a lot of our efforts on that. So
Congratulations.
yeah.
That's
How
really
did you
exciting.
first get involved with that organization?
So I feel like I am put on this planet to stand up for women. I just feel very called to it. So when I started DJing, I was just kind of looking at the local scene, and I came across Sisters in Sound because a friend of a friend worked with them, and I just sent Sisters in Sound a DM, and I said, hey, on Instagram, I was like, hey, this aligns with my values. I'd really like to help. And I think it was a couple of months before I got an answer back.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I've been working with Sisters in Sound, who is founded by Fatima. She's based in DC for a year and a half now.
Oh, okay,
awesome.
nice.
So how did you initially get into music and DJing? What was the calling there?
So I had some unfortunate events happen when I first moved to New York, and I had a friend from college that didn't want me to leave, and she's like, let me just take you out. She took me to Output. So Seth Troxler
Nice.
at Output, and I was like, oh, I really like this. And then I ended up just going and getting involved in the scene with her. I ended up going to a music festival, Holy Ship, it is now Friendship now, by myself, and I came back with a bunch of friends. I went totally by myself.
What inspired you to go by yourself? I feel like that's a bold move. A lot of people wouldn't go to a festival by themselves, especially a boat one.
Wait, you went to Friendship solo, Holy Ship. Did they have a spiritual
my
awakening?
hat's off to you. That's dope.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty
I
gutsy.
was newly single. I just moved to the city. I really wanted to make new friends, and it was my birthday. It was over my birthday. I was moving to Brooklyn with my friend, and I just sold my car, so I had a lot. I had money to kind of, I don't want to say burn. Obviously New York takes all your money, but I had some extra money. I was like, I'm gonna go. So I came back with a bunch of new friends, and I was so amazed at how easy it was to make friends within dance music, how happy everyone was to be there, how silly everybody was. It was just everyone forgot about the world for it was a little bubble, and I really loved that. And then once I got back to New York, I joined some regional groups, and I was able to make friends very easily. I was just, people are like, I'm gonna go to this show, I'm gonna go to this show, and I felt it to be quite easy to make friends within dance music. So the community is really what brought me there.
I feel like that's the story for a lot of people. I think the community surrounded by dance and house music kind of brings everybody together and draws you in and makes you want to be part of it with whatever way you can contribute.
Yeah. Yeah. And people are so nice. You would just be sitting down, like, just resting, and someone will sit down next to you, and be like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I'm like, it's amazing because you don't really get that in a lot of places. People don't feel comfortable expressing themselves or being friendly to people. So when you're in a space that you know everyone wants to be in, people are being like their fun, authentic, true selves, and they're being more outgoing, which is and playful, which I think is really great to see people like that.
Nice. Yeah. And that kind of inspired I want to get up there and deliver my own experience.
Yeah, in some ways, for sure, that definitely inspired me. What really got me going was I watched a TED Talk, and it was like, what would you regret in your deathbed? And I was like, immediately the first answer was like, I've always wanted to be an artist, but it was like very scary kind of thought to me. But that was the first, that was like the thought I had. I was like, if I didn't try to do music and be an artist, I would regret it heavily.
Nice.
That's awesome. So did you go out and buy your first DJ controller? Like, how did you kind of like ease your way into it?
So I had friends who were DJs. My friend, shout out to Charles Meyer, you guys know Charles. He lived up the street from me. I would go to his house once a week to learn the basics. And then I went all out and I bought like an RX2 system. So I spent a lot of money. Nice. Like I spent a lot of money once I got the basics down. And what I would do is just give myself goals of like to make mixes. So my very first mix was like a mixtape for my crush. I just did volume 8 of it actually. Nice. And it was just like stringing love songs together. But I gave myself goals to make sure I met them so that it kept me kind of playing and practicing.
Nice. And then how did you eventually squeeze into gigs and like working that out and getting contacts and getting bookings and stuff like that? Because you would play out pretty frequently, I would say, especially as it's grown.
Yeah. So I think because I had, my Brandy or Important project, which kind of grew out of wanting to make friends in the community when I was going alone to places. I wanted to have something to contribute, so people loved the stickers. So people knew me through that. And then I really just I just learned for the sake of learning how to do it, and people randomly would start being like, hey, can you want to play this like little local thing? And I was like thrilled to play anywhere I could because I was so excited to. Oh, yeah. And because I was posting so much on SoundCloud, that's a big recommendation I have. Like, people found me through SoundCloud. Like, my first booking at Elsewhere was because they listened to my SoundCloud.
Oh, nice.
And they were like, oh, do you want to play Elsewhere? And I was like,
SoundCloud still has some juice, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Still holding it down.
I also love that you created those goals for yourself. I think that's really important when you're starting any new craft, right? Structure yourself, be like, all right, cool, I'm going to get this % better at these things. I'm going to set these goals to make sure I keep progressing. Right. I'm very goal oriented, which is how I had to, you have to like trick your behavior if you're trying to learn something new, because if you don't kind of hack your behavior, trick your behavior, like knowing what works for you is how you're going to do it. It has to be fun, but you do have to have a little bit of discipline within it, So I found the whole concept of like stringing a bunch of love songs together to make a story really fun, even though it was quite challenging to select them and mix them together. But the whole concept I thought was really, I remember the first picture was like, do you like one of those notes that you pass to people? Do you like me? Yes, no, maybe. Like, I just thought the whole concept was fun. So having the fun behind it with the discipline of like wanting to get it done. I love that. Yeah. One of the things I definitely love about your style and what you do is the storytelling aspect. When you DJ, I think a lot of DJs lose that, and you can definitely feel that in what you play. And I think also, we're talking about the goals. I feel like you're always pushing yourself to the next level to try to do something new, try to create something new. I saw you were doing mixes on multiple decks, like 4 decks and stuff, which I thought was really cool. And I think that's something that a lot of people could strive for. Yeah, I think as some of the things I look at when I think about success, for me, it's changed in a couple of ways, but one of the things is, how is my skill level getting better, right? And so once you get mixing down, and I can always be better. I listen back, I record almost everything, and now how can I start I play out the song for a lot of times. So how can I start getting a little creative? I'll put acapellas in, I'll do spin backs, but that comes from a lot of me practicing at home. Oh yeah. But it's
cool to see the evolution. Like even spin backs, like I used to be so scared to do them, and then I just did one. It wasn't play. I really rehearsed my Brooklyn Mirage set, but I did a spin back in it because I thought it was just like kind of like a skill that I had practiced, and now I feel comfortable doing it in front of thousands of people, which is
amazing.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, tell us about that experience.
So it was. I luckily had I knew about the gig many months in advance, and so when I knew I was closing for Galantis, it was a sold out show. I was like, okay, I want to compliment the crowd, compliment the artists on the lineup, which I'm not really commercial. I want to be authentic to myself, and I want to educate the crowd a little bit.
Sure.
But I also want to keep the crowd going. So I thought I had a lot of time to think about this. So one of the things I did is, I can't take full credit for it, but I did do my own spin on it. I heard one of my friends, colleagues do like tease Satisfaction, like that push in a whole set once, and I thought it was iconic, and I never stopped thinking about it. So I got an acapella of Satisfaction, and I said I'm gonna tease it throughout, and I did it a little different. I teased the whole thing, and then I dropped it in the middle. And I'll tell you, Satisfaction goes good with a lot of songs, even over a lot of vocals. And I was putting it over other vocals, and you could hear the crowd every time I put the acapella sing with it. So the anticipation was really high. And yeah, so I had a long time to think about the set, which I think was good, because had I got a last minute booking, which is like often what happens with vocals, I don't think I would have I smashed it out of the park with that one. I really
incredible.
I really was very happy with my set. At the time, I was like, what's going to work is Charli XCX just came out with her new album, and I knew that crowd is like a pop crowd, right? So I heard I had got booked to do this private event. She wanted me to play some Charli XCX, and I was listening to the album. I'm like, oh, this is good. The first song, Club Classics, I was like, my set's going to be Club Classics. I'm going to educate the crowd. I'm going to play... I played like a strictly rhythm track from like 1998. But I also played stuff that was very relevant, stuff that they didn't know, like producers that I really respect, but like are not really known. So I kind of did, and I put a lot of classics in there, but the whole Satisfaction is a classic, and I teased it throughout. So there was really like an art to it. It was really fun when I was up there. I was really nervous. They wouldn't let any of my friends come up on the stage with me because they had like pyro for Galantis. So I was all alone up there. It's me and the stage manager, and I was like, and the person doing video for me. So yeah, it was pretty incredible and people were staying. When I finished, they were like, one more song, and I was like, people were messaging me from the crowd.
Yes.
Amazing.
I love that.
And the Club Classics, someone actually said something. They're like, you're an icon for opening up with Club Classics, and I was like, yes, I knew that would work.
Sick.
Yeah.
Fire.
That's amazing. Yeah, so that's incredible that, buying your RRX2 and slowly ramping up, your whole career to this point.
To the biggest stage in New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the top venues in the world. That's amazing. What's in store for you? I know you've been working on your production chops. How's that coming along?
So it is slow, but it's going. I have my first release. It's coming out in March.
Congrats! Where at?
Congrats! That's awesome.
It's like a friend's label. It's called Sparkle Motion Recordings, and I have a lot of unfinished projects, but I am working. I actually have this idea that I think I'm going to work on today, and it's like little things. I keep chipping away at it, but with the Beatport grant that we just got, like in all the gigs I'm getting, I've been intentionally trying to be like, let me slow down, focus on production a little bit, but like once I get really good opportunities, it's really hard for me to say no. So I'm just kind of letting myself, follow what's important, making sure I'm taking care of myself, but making some structured, disciplined time. I do have some goals in 2025 around music production. I want to finish at least 3 tracks, whether or not they get released or whatever. Like me, I'm finally like at a point where I'm structuring songs that sound like songs. I just need
full
help with
original works. You're not making like bootlegs or.
So I have a couple of those, but like no, I am
edits.
Not so much edits. Like I am using samples. It's like I feel like as someone who doesn't have music theory, using samples is very helpful. But I'm using Rolling Cloud. Remember,
Nice,
so with the the 303, like doing a lot of that kind of stuff. chopping up a lot of vocals. I really like jacking stuff, so I've been kind of what's helpful is using like reference tracks. So I'm getting there. So I don't know how to like it. Is it original if I use samples? Can I call it original tracks if I use samples?
If you get the sample cleared and they are okay with you doing that, that is a possibility for you.
Yeah. So I do build my own drum things. I like to use all the old, more like the 909, like the Ableton stock things.
But you do have to get clearance first before you can legally put it out. Or you could put it out and then see if you get caught and ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness. Well, I mean, I'm using Splice and I'm using like things that like I guess some people send me. I have like a whole pack that someone sent me. Some of
well, that's okay to use. Samples like that. I thought you meant like I'm talking about sampling another song.
Oh yeah, no. So samples.
Splice, you can use all the stuff you want, and you're good to go.
Yeah, so I am doing that because I think I wouldn't be able to like make it far without it, especially just with the limited amount of time. If I think about how many hours I put into DJing, and then producing is a whole nother level that has like, I never had any music theory, so it's going to take me a long time before I can get really good at it. So I'm kind of relying on collaborations, and the help of others, which I think is okay. But now I'm finally like making stuff and I'm like, this isn't so bad. I like sent it to a friend. He was like, I like how good your kick sounds. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Excellent. So releases on the first release on the way, productions are in the pipeline, and it sounds like you've got a bunch of gigs coming up. Is there anything else in the future you'd want to mention before we kind of start to wrap it up? Because I know your organizations have a lot of stuff going on, and I know you have probably some very exciting events coming up.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely going to put the plug for the Sisters in Sound Micro Festival. It is on Women's Weekend. We're going to do the Thursday. We already have the date at Silo, March 6th. And then March 8th is it'll be a full day conference. So there'll be breakout sessions, there'll be open decks, there'll be panelists.
Also at Silo?
We haven't fully secured the venue, but I think it's going to be somewhere in Manhattan, and it's like it's a nice place. It gives conference. We have a main room, and then there's like a couple of other side rooms, but it's someplace in the Greenwich Village. Please look out for that, and it'll likely be either free or very cheap.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We're so excited to see what is in store for you this year coming up. And wish you all the best of luck. Yeah, I'm sure.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Where can people find you online?
You can find me if you type in Branqueeno, Branqueeno. It's how you phonetically say it. On SoundCloud, on Spotify in March when I have my first release. And the same thing with Instagram. You can find me there.
Are we going to get to hear any of your new productions and your DJ set coming up?
I was planning to play it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Make sure you
exciting.
guys check out the link below and in this playlist to check out this amazing DJ set that you're about to hear.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm Rich Furniss.
And I'm Lefty. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Peace.